Welcome back to Sonic Creations, everyone. So, there are some new leaks that I'd like to discuss. Now, usually I don't cover leaks, but I think since we haven't had an official announcement of the next game, why not, you know? Like, I don't usually do this sort of thing, but I'm giving myself some levity because these leaks actually seem pretty realistic and pretty grounded. It's not like, yeah, it's gonna be called Hypersonic Adventures and there's gonna be 30 playable characters. You know, it's not like that. So I'm gonna, skim through this and see what sounds realistic to me. And then I'll give you my thoughts on what I believe this could be and what it could include. Because, as you know, I've been sounding the alarms that it's the 20th anniversary of Sonic 06 this year. And it may not mean anything, but I think it might mean something for characters like Silver. They may not remake 06, right? Project 06 kind of already did that job. I don't think they're interested in that. But we could see some sort of spiritual successor in terms of having those three hedgehogs, that trio, right? All playable in this game, which could be Sonic Eclipse, but maybe not. But we'll get to that. Let's go over these leaks. The playable roster, according to the first leak, is Sonic, Shadow, Silver, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, which, the Silver part is, I'm liking that, I'll tell you that much. Features a dimension mechanic. I don't know what that would mean. You can switch between the real world and the Eclipse dimension. So, I don't know what the Eclipse dimension would be. I don't know if that's related to something with Sage, or if that is a new villain, or maybe Mephiles? I'm just kidding, no. Mephiles has never been associated with anything like that, so it probably isn't a return of an old villain. We just saw him in Shadow Generations, and it was kind of underwhelming, if I'm being honest. It was nice to see him again, don't get me wrong, but for such a major villain to just be like brought in for a second and then thrown right back out was just hilarious, especially for one of my favorite villains. Still salty about that, but the part where it says you can switch between the real world and the Eclipse dimension is very intriguing because it makes me wonder, what is the Eclipse dimension? Is that like Blaze's soul dimension? Is it like another layer of reality that exists in the same universe, or is it another world entirely? Like, what are we talking about here? So Sage returns. That's not a surprise. She was in Crossworlds. She's now Eggman's companion. We did see in the Frontiers end credit scene that Sage is alive and is being brought back in some way. Maybe she'll have a new form. Like, she would update her visual appearance, so maybe she looks older in this version. I don't know. So she could have a different appearance, or maybe some new powers. We'll see, right? Maybe Eggman did a redesign. Unlikely, because I think, they don't like to change the designs of these characters that often, but who knows? We may be getting new designs for all the characters, like, going forward. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that, too. It doesn't say anything about that, I don't think. A handful of other Sonic characters are present as NPCs. Big, Blaze, Tangle, Whisper. Tangle's voice work is being provided by Erica Harlacher, from what she sounded like. Crossworlds will be featured at a State of Play in February. TMNT and Avatar will be shown off as well. So yeah, this is like trying to make it seem more realistic with like already confirmed Crossworld stuff. Very clever. And the stuff about Unleashed getting a remaster, I'm just gonna skip over that because it kind of already did. The fans are crazy like that. We already have Unleashed recompiled. There really is no reason, especially with all the features that it has and all the mod support, there's no reason they'd want to do an Unleashed remastered unless they had some new content planned. But that's kind of awkward because unless they bring Jason Griffith back, it's just weird, right? If suddenly Roger comes in and does some lines for an extra DLC level and they need Sonic to talk, right? So I would say that like maybe new voice work isn't required and it's just going to be added features, and maybe Knuckles will be a part of Unleashed finally. But I don't know. It just seems so unlikely to me. Same with like an 06 remaster. I'm like, yeah, right. So let's get to this one. This one's hilarious. A person who works as a janitor in Sega's headquarters in Irvine, California. Wow, okay, well, you've already outed the poor guy. Believe me or not, I don't care. If it becomes reality, we'll see. I trust him. He told me these things. Okay. New Sonic game, you don't say. He only saw a short clip of the menu, no gameplay footage seen from him. The game is called Sonic Eclipse. The title looks like, because it's written in gold and it has a really close font. Oh, okay, close font to the Secret Rings one. Yeah, for this one, I don't there is something that connects, and it's from Crossworlds. That level that's like that golden palace looking area, and I think it does feature an eclipse in there, like in the skybox. I'm not sure, I don't remember. If it's connected to that, which I honestly thought it was some 3D rendition of Golden Capital from Sonic Superstars. So if it's not that, then I am mistaken. I don't know what that level is. Could just be original for Crossworlds. I mean, there is some original levels in Crossworlds. It doesn't mean that that's what's gonna be in the next Sonic game. Although it's not impossible, it's just, I don't think they would do that. I don't think they would leak their own levels in a racing title before we actually even get to that next game, or it's even revealed. That's strange to me. The game was running on a PS5, no surprise there. It shows a big city with Sonic in it, and it literally ends with Sonic and Dr. Eggman teletransporting, but there it ends without showing where they go. So that is interesting. It seems like we are getting a story where Sonic and Eggman work together, if this is true. Now, they may turn against each other towards the end. I mean, obviously Eggman has his own motives. If he ends up understanding what the Eclipse dimension is capable of in terms of a power source, I'm sure he'll just, want to do that, and it'll be the typical Eggman shtick. Menu has Sonic watching a city at noon, but the city is distant. This one's interesting. So it seems like it's a city all by itself, maybe on an island, and Sonic's looking out at this city from a distance. It doesn't seem like it's connected to anything we've previously seen, so I don't think this is like a grand metropolis or anything like that. It seems like it's a totally new environment and new area, something related to this Eclipse dimension. Okay, for the final leak, this one's very simplistic. Sonic Eclipse, main open world Sonic game. Sonic and Shadow are the main characters in both playable. Spin Dash comes back, city area with NPCs, no boosting, new burst speed mechanic, special moves, increased combat power while maintaining top speed. Very much like Sonic CD in the sense that, like, maybe it's gonna copy that mechanic that if you maintain a certain level of speed, it'll reward you by either going to the future or the past or traveling to the Eclipse dimension, right? Could be taking a lot from Sonic CD, but we'll see. It seems like it's mainly just for, like, the reward is you get the boost, right? If you maintain your speed long enough, you'll start boosting. I like that. That would definitely mean that the worlds would have to be larger to sustain that, especially if you want a real sense of speed, and there is customization options for speed and movement in the options menu like Frontiers had, which I would imagine there would be. I don't know why they would take that away unless there's some design reason. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure if I want that to come back from Frontiers because it hurts my brain. Just like, I just want like a definitive way to control the characters and not have to worry about, oh yeah, I can go into the settings and make Sonic faster or slower or anything. As nice as that is, it's lacking confidence and it's lacking finality, and it makes me think too hard when I'm just trying to play a Sonic game, in my opinion. Like, I don't want to have to adjust speed and adjust jump height and all this stuff. It's so weird. Like, I just want to play the game and not have to worry about that stuff. But that's just me. I'm glad, the people who did enjoy those options, it was there for them. I'm sure they'll have it here as well. This also ties into Sonic CD like dimension hopping. Yeah. Where activating certain items in the overworld can transport you to an alternate world. Linear levels are still in the game. Yeah, so, I mean, I would hope there's linear levels in the game. It's not just open world. So, yeah, this really does feel like the next step up from Frontiers. There's a very common through line, which is it has a city, there's multiple playable characters. Silver may or may not be featured in this as a playable character. Only one report said that was the case, or one leak, I should say. And you know what? That's enough for me. That's enough for me to get me hyped, because this really does sound like the next Sonic 06. It really does. The way that these leaks are describing it, it's like there's this new thing. It seems like it's a darker story based on the title and based on the theme. The Eclipse dimension doesn't sound like a nice place, right? It sounds like somewhere that they have to go to stop a threat. Sonic and Eggman working together already isn't a great sign. Not like I don't like that story type, but I'm afraid of what that might mean. Meaning the villain might be a major threat to the entire world or reality itself. So Sonic and Eggman working together, good story-wise, bad implications for the characters in terms of narrative. That's usually when they're absolutely desperate, so that's not That's not great. I still think that Eggman may have something up his sleeve as usual. I don't think it's just going to be a simple, oh, we're working together, begrudgingly, and that's just going to be the story. Nah, I don't think so. I also think that it is time for a more city-focused setting for Sonic. It's been a lot of natural environments. It's nice to finally have something that is city, and not just like a modern city, because that would be nice too, but no, this is something else. This is like, a city that might be ancient but futuristic at the same time, might be connected to Silver. Look, I think too many things are pointing to Silver, and it may sound strange, but it being the 20th anniversary of Sonic 06, that's the first game Silver appeared in. If you don't think that has meaning, I don't know what to tell you, right? And if they don't take advantage of that, or they don't understand why that would be important, especially with the major comeback Sonic 06 has been having with Project 06, which they have seen and noticed. I mean, this thing has literally been at GDQ. So they're aware of Project 06. They know that people enjoy Silver's gameplay when it's finished. So I think that like Silver coming back, it's just, this is the right time to do it. Now, there's a few things here. I don't know if he's gonna be one of the main playable characters. I could see him being more of a DLC or something that's added after the fact. I hope that's not the case, but I'm just trying to manage my expectations and your expectations, because I'm not sure if Sega yet still has that confidence to just bring in another Hedgehog just because Shadow did well. Like, I want to believe that that's true, right? That like Shadow did super well, so now Silver has the right to have his place in this story narratively, and also with having just as much gameplay equal to that of Sonic and Shadow and all the other playable characters, right? Now that is a tall order, which is why I say this sounds like Sonic 06, and which is why if this was the Sega of old, they would be pushing this thing out at the end of this year. It is actually really reassuring that we haven't had any confirmation that it's coming out this year, because that would mean a holiday release. That would mean another Sonic 06 that's rushed out the door just to meet those holiday sales, and also the movie coming out, which may also, have an impact on their release schedule. But according to things as of late, that's not the case. They're trying not to let the movies dictate where they want to release their games. So that's a good thing. I think that's healthy, and that's the way it should be. Let the movies do their thing. People will be ready for a new Sonic game whenever it comes out. Honestly, there is no rush. Like, I just want this game to be the best thing that it can be, because it sounds extremely promising. First of all, Spin Dash coming back. Yes, absolutely. That is a Sonic staple. The fact that it was taken away for so many years is criminal. It's my one issue with games like Sonic Unleashed, right? Is that occasionally you'll see Sonic go into a ball, like especially in drifting and Generations and stuff like that, but we haven't really been able to control a spin dash in so long. So to be able to have that feature in there, and maybe some physics, like, if you roll into a ball and roll down a hill, you'll build momentum super fast. I hope that stuff is in there as well. But it's not like a necessity. It's just, I really miss the physics in games like Sonic Adventure, even though I think it was pretty capped for the most part, but you could get away with doing some crazy stuff in those games that I just really miss. And I really like the way adding physics to Sonic 06 and Project 06 actually enhanced the game. So there's so many possibilities with that. So I'm glad that that's a feature that's coming back. But as for how I imagine Silver's gameplay to be, there's gotta be something here, because the more I think about this story, I'm almost positive that we're gonna see Silver as an end post-credit scene or epilogue of some sort in Sonic Movie 4. It really feels like Silver is making a major comeback. Even if, like I said, it doesn't happen in this game, DLC is still possible. And even if not DLC, this could be paving the way for a Silver-focused game entirely. Like, he's the main character, Silver gets to breathe and have his own story. That would be incredible. Him being a popular character in the movies would only help that and fuel that. So I hope that's the direction we're going. I know that that's, a crazy thing to think about, because Sonic and Shadow have been the only characters that have had their own games other than Tails, but that was back in like the 90s. We're talking about now, like what's possible nowadays. I really don't know, right? Like Knuckles hasn't even had his own game, and he's a very popular character. So I think that the Hedgehogs seem to have the most popularity. I think Silver could rise in popularity, and it could lead to him having his own game. It just depends on how well he's received here. And that's why I think it's so crucial that they don't repeat the mistakes of Sonic 06, because if they push out a game with unpolished gameplay and it's really janky and oh my god, all the potential, but now we're sitting with this unfinished product. It's literally a carbon copy of Sonic 06, and that would be a terrible thing to do on a 20th anniversary. 20 years later, make the same mistake. Like, please God, no. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do this again. So having that many playable characters, I mean, this is the whole playable roster. What they list in this first leak is the whole playable roster of Sonic 06. Sonic, Shadow, Silver, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. The only one that's missing is Omega and Rouge. That is nuts. You know, that's crazy. That is a lot of playable characters. Now, of course, Final Horizons paved the way for this to be possible. It's not like they're just now trying Knuckles, Playable, and Amy and Tails and all that now. They've already tested it. It worked. People liked it. You know, yeah, it was rough around the edges. I had my issues with it when it came out. I didn't like that they were making you unlock the ability to do basic functions with Knuckles that were like already available in the adventure games. Like, I didn't like that, but I get it. They were trying to introduce these characters to a new generation who haven't played as them in some odd decade of years. I don't know how many years it's really been, but like, I totally forget that, oh yeah, people younger than me that are growing up, you know, getting into Sonic, they haven't played as these characters in forever. And so, yeah, I get it. I see what Final Horizons was trying to do, and I respect that 100%. So yes, I really do hope we get more playable characters. I've been asking for this for years now. So with all that being said, I don't want this to go on too long. My famous tagline at the end of every video. I really appreciate you guys watching this far if you have. Sonic Cybernetics Episode 7 is going to have its first scene of that episode released. I want to say the end of February, could be March. I gotta make sure that it's perfect and that I have time to bring everything together in a way that it needs to be, right? Because I want to bring it to as close as the final product as I can before I ship this scene. I really appreciate your guys' patience with the show and everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion, and let me know, do you guys think Silver's going to be in this game? Do you think they care about the 20th anniversary of Sonic 06? Do you think that's going to have an impact? And what do you want out of this next game titled Sonic Eclipse, quote unquote? Do you think this is a real game? Do you think these leaks have some validity? I personally do. I've heard enough stuff about the city inclusion that I'm like, all right, anything else that's attached to it, I'm not so sure, like playable characters, but I know for a fact Sonic's in it, and Eggman is in it, and Sage is in it, and there's a city. I think we can all agree on those facts, and so let me know what you guys think, but I'll see you in the next video, creators. Peace out.